When I say the word inspiration, what comes to your mind? And what inspires you? Well, depending on what you may have thought, it is correct. Because inspiration, according to the Oxford Dictionary, is the process that takes place when somebody sees or hears something that gives them exciting new ideas, especially in art, music, and literature. This is a process that differs from person to person, so again, regardless of what you may have thought, it is correct. With that in mind, inspiration is something that really matters. But how? There is a study article from Harvard Business Review that talks about the matter of inspiration. In the article, there's a tale from Lev Tolstoy's The Death of Ivan Illich that demonstrates the effect of inspiration. Ivan, a successful man who had just graduated from law school, was rising in Russia's professional class, but his career could be threatened when they discovered that his wife was pregnant. He was starting working more and being more confined at home. One day, Ivan suffered a sudden accident and discovered that he would die. Fearing such a thing, he tried to block all those thoughts from his mind. Spending time with his loyal servant, Jezan, made him think of life differently. The man who relieved this physical pain didn't fear death, knowing that everyone would die someday. He reflected if he had an authentic or superficial life, and came to the conclusion that his life was superficial and not like Jezan's life. In a sudden state of dream, something pushes him into the light, and his hand falls into his son's head. He feels sorry for him. He watches his wife report in tears. He feels sorry for her too. In that moment, it was revealed to Ivan Illich that even though he didn't live the way he wanted to have lived, this could still be rectified. He felt sorry for his family members, so he had to act in order not to hurt them, release them from these sufferings. How simple, he thought. What joy to him, and all of this happened in a single instant. Finding intense joy in this last authentic moment, he sighs, stretches out, and dies in peace. Ivan was inspired by his family, and his family members were inspired by him, so he fought hard to relieve their suffering, dying in peace. He had inspiration as a powerful trait, a trait that gave him the motivation to do what he did. He died knowing he had reached his objective, so he fought hard to relieve their suffering, and this is an act of consideration, empathy, and kindness, which is a great example of a strong, inspiring action. Do you notice that he started inspired and then ended up being an inspiration? Doesn't this give you the will to innovate, the wish to do something creative? Doesn't this trigger inspiration in you? Doesn't this trait give you the desire to change? But how can we associate inspiration as a trait? Well, the psychologists Todd M. Thrash and Angel J. Elliott define inspiration as having three main qualities. First, inspiration is something evoked spontaneously and not intentionally by something. It comes from a sudden idea or an inspiring person. Secondly, it transcends from a basic wish to something creative, a purpose, a meaning, and kindness. Third, it's not just contemplation, but the will of creating, expressing, sharing, and building. With that, they developed the inspiration scale, in which they treated inspiration as a trait, and it differs in which the frequency in which a person experiences it more or less than others. With this scale, they discovered that people who tend to score high on the scale tend to score high on other traits characteristic of inspiration: approach motivation, evocation, and transcendence. Personally, I agree. People really seem to work harder and better when they are inspired. Even me. Now, knowing this, thanks to Mr. Kaufman, there are some people who are really known for being inspiring for the others, but this inspiration is not necessarily the same for everyone, because, again, inspiration differs from person to person. A great example is a soccer player, Cristiano Ronaldo, known for his incredible skills in the soccer field, for being a good person, and his dedication, and others. Ronaldo started as a poor kid who always dreamed of being a soccer player as he watched talented players playing like Luis Figo and Rui Costa. So he wanted to be like him. He started training hard every day, facing challenges and challenges, getting better and better until eventually he became one of the best soccer players in the world. And he never lost his principles, humility, and other great qualities. Ronaldo is an example of a public inspiration, in which anybody knows who he is and what he does. He is really important for many people's mental health, as he is a source of inspiration and able to stimulate innovation and the will to achieve something greater. On the other hand, Ivan Illich, he's an example of a close inspiration, being an inspiration for people close to him, his family. Even though Ivan Illich is inspiration only to his family and people close to him, and Cristiano Ronaldo for many people in the world, both of them are really important for people's mental and physical health, being a source of inspiration. Inspiration is an excellent trait, isn't it? But what if I tell you that reaching something based on what inspires you has a cycle? A cycle that doesn't involve only one individual, but a cycle that involves multiple. Let's imagine you want to become your school's basketball team best player, but you don't know how to start. You watch your favorite player rocking the match, and you say, man, I want to be like him someday. You start training hard, getting better and better every day, until eventually, one day, you become your school's basketball team best player. You become someone to be admired. You became a leader. You became an inspiration. Notice the cycle. You started with a dream. You tried very hard and became an inspiration. 3 stages. This is a way of mentality that can be taken into consideration as a base of what you want to become, starting inspired and ending up with more than just your objective, but capable of being admired by other people. Ronaldo himself experienced this cycle. He always wanted to be a soccer player like Luis Figo and Rui Costa. So he trained hard every day, facing challenges and challenges, getting better and better, until he became one of the best soccer players in the world, being an inspiration for many other people and soccer players like Kylian Mbappe, who always had him as a childhood and adolescent inspiration. Ronaldo is an example of an inspiration, and he experienced this cycle. He started dreaming, he tried hard, and became an inspiration. As I said before, even though he started inspired, he is an inspiration today. And he started with an inspiration, Luis Figo and Rui Costa. Personally, I have experienced this cycle. When I started having tests, I had a classmate who always got good grades because he studied very hard and became someone to be admired. I admired him. So I wanted to have that excellence. So I started studying more, getting better and better and better, until one day, my friend told me that I was his studies inspiration. In that exact moment, I heard that, I knew that I had reached more than just my objective. I became an inspiration. This is just excellent. This can happen with anyone who starts inspired. Even Illich, the one I spoke on the beginning, the cycle also happened with him. His inspiration was his family, and he fought hard to relieve their suffering, dying in peace. This act of kindness, empathy, and consideration is really inspiring, isn't it? He started inspired and ended up being an inspiration. Inspiration is such a wonderful trait, being connected with creativity, curiosity, motivation, evocation, and transcendence. The qualities of starting inspired and ending up being an inspiration are wonderful, because you start inspired and end up being an inspiration. You have a base and an objective, a simple and defined way to think. In our society, it is really important to think this way in order to achieve your goals healthily. Inspiration keeps your mindset healthy and defined, and wanting to achieve something based on what inspires you is easier than without an inspiration, isn't it? Just like my personal example. I had an inspiration. I worked hard to reach my goal, and became an inspiration. In the very beginning, I asked you, what is inspiration for you? And what inspires you? Do you remember that there were no wrong answers? This time, I want you to think again, but consider adding the cycle to it. Does your answer change? After all I have said, consider adding the cycle for what inspires you, and have in mind the critical way of thinking. How can I start inspired and end up being an inspiration? Thank you.